This video is all about how I built my training teaching business. I built my training teaching business in my 20s, and I want to give you some insights, some 4 insights that will help you think about how you can build your own business as well. So first off, I started with credentials. Now, did I ride in the Olympics or did I even ride at the top of the sport? No, actually not yet. But when I talk about credentials, I'm talking about the ability to get results for clients. So think about teaching, training, all of those things and my own personal experiences with my mentor, my competition record, but things that clients will then look at me and say, yes, she's qualified. But then there's more than that. It's how I actually get them results, which is related to being able to select horses, being able to manage horses to really perform well in their job or whatever they're meant to be doing. So I like to group credentials into horse management, riding, and business. And for me, I had those credentials. Number 2, sometimes, we're in our 20s, we're young. Even if you're outside of your 20s, a lot of people get tripped up on how am I going to start my business if I don't have the capital to buy a farm? How am I going to even do this? But actually, this is a good thing. Imagine you drop $500,000 on a farm. You're gonna go all in, you're going to make that huge capital investment, if that's even possible. And then what happens? You might be building a business and taking on debt that really doesn't fit that area and the demands of that area, and so you're stuck. So what I did instead is I built a lean business that I could pivot and took really limited investment. It still is very much a traveling instruction business where I'm working out of various barns in the areas, teaching clinics, doing training rides, lessons, and so forth. And really, because of that, my overhead is quite low. I don't have to deal with staff, I don't have property that I directly use for my business. And so I can pivot my business model, and early on, I was really able to figure out how to best reach and serve the clients that I wanted to serve. The next piece is I used free advertising. Talk about starting your business. There's not a lot of cash flow oftentimes, and we need to figure out how to start our businesses without a ton of money. Use the sources you have: flyers at a tack shop, flyers at the feed store, Craigslist, personal social media. When I first started, I didn't have a huge social media following on Instagram or Facebook, but what I did was had a small network, just a few hundred people on Instagram, and then my fairly large network on Facebook of people who I knew and they trusted me, and that really kickstarted my business for sure. So leverage the free advertising. The other key piece, and this comes into the 4th piece here, is I built relationships with barn owners. Remember, reflecting back to my prior point, when I first started out and still continue to be a traveling instructor. And to do this, I needed really good relationships with barn owners. Just think of that, owners and trainers who would let me in and trust me to teach and support the people that are already at their facility, or would allow me to accept trailering clients at their facility. So a key example would be, very early on, I built a relationship with a hunter jumper trainer, primarily focused on hunters. And even though my background's primarily eventing, dressage as well, I offered dressage lessons for her clients. So it almost felt like for her, she didn't feel like this competition. We were there providing value to the people at the facility and in the area, but we weren't directly competing, more or less. And so in that way, we were able to work together and essentially both work under the same facility. Now, starting out, I did give her a percentage of my lessons, we had that agreed upon rate. But as I continued to grow, I didn't always and continue to not always share a percentage to the barn owners. Instead, we make an agreement, and having great training at their facility is an asset, and oftentimes I can run my business without additional fees being paid to the barn owners. So building those relationships with barn owners, facility owners, absolutely critical. So for all these things, I had to learn and navigate and figure out how to do this and how to build a successful business without a lot of capital in an area that, yes, has a lot of horses, but I still had to navigate it. And so for you, I have a resource that I link below. It's called the 7-Day Roadmap to Pro, where I start to give you a taste of how you can prepare to build your business and some key things you need to be thinking about as you begin to launch. So check that out. You're going to enjoy it. By the way, if we haven't met, I'm Dr. Emily Irvin Cordero, the founder of the Rising Equestrian Pro, which is all about helping you prepare for your training teaching career and then helping you find success once you launch your business. So have a comment below. What stood out? I'd love to hear it. And stay tuned for this channel. Lots of good videos here and lots more to come. See ya.